In this video, we are going to learn how to add a new practice and find or edit an existing practice. The practice represents the organization that is sending claims to payers. Any user with the account setup and practice permission can add and configure your practice records. Now let's get started. To add a new practice, navigate to Customer Setup, then click on Practices. Start by clicking New Practice and adding your practice name. The practice name should match with what your payers have on file. Next, add the NPI, taxonomy code, and organization type for your office. If needed, you can use the magnifying glass to select from the NPI registry or a list of taxonomy codes. Lastly, enter the office's address. If your practice's Pay-To address is different, check the box and enter the Pay-To address. Within the side panels on the right, you will find tabs for Notes, Other Offices, and Defaults. Like other areas in the application, Notes are an efficient way to communicate with your team about any information regarding this practice. If your practice has additional offices, you can add them under your main practice record by using the Other Offices tab. To add a new office, click the New Office button, enter the required information, then click Done. If you need to edit an office, simply click on the office name and make your changes. The Defaults tab allows you to pre-populate options and fields for any new claims, patients, or ERAs under this practice. The Claims tab is where you can pre-populate practice information for newly created claims. The Patient tab controls how new patient records are created, and the ERA tab defines how new ERA payments should post. The last thing we are going to talk about is inactivating and reactivating practice records. In the event you no longer need a certain practice record, it can be inactivated. To do this, search for and locate the practice you no longer need, check Make this practice inactive, then click Save. Please note that you are unable to inactivate a practice if an active provider record is associated with it. To reactivate a practice, search for the practice as you normally would, but make sure you check the Include Inactive Practices checkbox. Once you find and open the inactive practice, uncheck Make this practice inactive, then click Save. That's all it takes. Now that you know how to configure your practices, you can get started. For step-by-step directions, FAQs, and other how-to videos on the Customer Setup section, visit our Knowledge Center at help.collaboratemd.com. Thanks for watching.